visuals are arguing or making a point. They have a thesis. Sometimes you can do something visually, particularly if it's a comedic thing like a political cartoon, and get away with it when it would be difficult to actually say it for more of a verbal sort of thesis kind of way. So I'll let you sort of read that. But what's really important in this section, before we get to some of the other stuff, is that this is some of the stuff that I want you to be thinking about and writing about in your first paper. Not just about, here, I don't want you just to describe the different stuff that you see in your commercial. I don't want you to just say, okay, I see these colors, that's cool. Or I see these, this form, I see this type of lighting, this is type of spatiality, these are movements, blah, 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 blah. But I want you to move more, move beyond that and show how the visuals are representing reality in certain ways, how visuals are images are used as proof for the product or the product's effectiveness or whatever. And then how are there argumentative claims that are made through the visuals. So that stuff is really, really important. Okay. Applications of visual comms. So more about how visuals persuade. So this is not necessarily really a different, it is a different section in the book, but it isn't really terribly different. And so it just talks about how visuals can be used, and visual communication can be used in lots of different ways. They talk about visual spectacles. Particularly, we will see this when we see any sort of speech that a presidential candidate made becomes a visual spectacle. Think about if Obama speaks in the Rose Garden, all that type of stuff. But when we see the conventions in July, total visual spectacle, red, white, and blue all over the place. You remember when Obama gave his first acceptance speech at the 2000 whatever it was, and he had the columns and all that type of stuff. It was in Denver, a whole stadium packed, total visual spectacle. So another thing to sort of think about. Logos are very important. I'll let you sort of read about the old Greek logos. But today, virtually every business organization uses a logo to create identification with the customers. And they have all the various functions of logos. Logos, again, we're thinking about visual logos here. Our new koala, the fighting koala. We're not fighting koalas anymore. We're just koalas because the fighting is embedded in the visual. We see the fighting. I'm going to get you. Logos linked to a company offer a certain image of that particular company. Koalas. The swoosh for Nike, Pepsi, Coke, QT, a big ass Q and a big ass T. What is Coke? Logos try to make one company or something stand out from another, although a lot of stuff looks a lot alike, but not always. Logos need to be rememberable. We want to see something, oh wow, that's cool. And remember that. That stands for that. The Hillary Clinton, the H, going forward, I guess. Need to be attractive, positive feelings associated with it. I like it, the visual. It makes me happy. It makes me happy. Need to be legible to the audience so they actually get it. All people will see the logo, blah, 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 blah. In 1995, Nike decided to drop its name from its logo and just use the swoosh. Its intent was to create a logo that transcended language. Okay. Tiger Woods has his own little logo now, the T and the W. Might as well face it, he's addicted to love. And then, logos need to be enduring. So people use the same logo over and over and over again. Sometimes they'll switch it, but you want it to be enduring and have a foster a relationship between the company and the viewer. There's just lots of stuff, and again, all this stuff is possible stuff for you to write about in your paper. And then it moves to talking about architecture, the use of physical space, which I think is really, really interesting. You know, fast food restaurants, the way they're designed, they intentionally make fast food restaurants and the seating very, very uncomfortable, so you will eat and leave so other people can come in. But all the different things that people, use that create space to give you a certain sense. You know, you go to like Community Coffee, or not Community Coffee, that's in Louisiana, but we don't have them in Columbia. But what's that coffee place? It's not Starbucks. It's Caribou, where you go in. It's like a lodge. Think of this is. I was going to try to get a job here, but they wouldn't hire me because they said I was underqualified. I think I'm overqualified. But Twin Peaks, are all these terrible, but they're called restaurants. But how they try to sort of give a certain style or feel for whatever. So how people use space is an interesting aspect of visuals. And all the various symbolisms. I mean, think about the South Carolina State House grounds and how that changed since the shooting when the Confederate flag was taken down. But still, the juxtaposition between all these different statues still offers, in my perspective, a voice that valorizes the Confederacy. And there's so much stuff to say about architecture, and I don't know if that might not necessarily be relevant to your paper, but nonetheless, it's some stuff that's good. Okay, and then where am I? Back to the media influence. Yeah. This is all. I mean, a lot of this stuff I don't know a whole lot about because I'm not a graphic designer or anything like that. And so, but this still is really interesting stuff that you could potentially use in your own paper. Talk about the use of graphic design, the layout, and stuff like that. Particularly if you're looking at an ad, and you can. I say it's on TV, but some ads end up on the internet.